We're here in the Cathedral of Burgos. These are the escaleras doradas. But what I want to show you today is the most incredible cimborio that you will likely ever see in your life. You can see the star-shaped design follows the Cordovan proportion. In fact, this is not the first cimborio that we see at the Burgos Cathedral. Before, in the 16th century, there was a grand tower that went up to the sky, almost double the height of the two towers that we see today on the front facade of the cathedral. However, in a really catastrophic incident, it fell down in the middle of the night, and actually no one died. But it necessitated the reconstruction of this cimborio. So I believe the man they hired to do this was named Juan of Colonia, and he built probably the most amazing view that your eyes could see with this grand star-shaped pattern. It's a great mixture of Gothic and Islamic art because the proportions that it follows originate in the Mosque-Cathedral of Córdoba. Otherwise, there's a lot more that we can account for here and talk about. Here they say that the Cid Campeador, one of the most famous figures from Spanish literary sources, from the Poema del Cid, one of the earliest poems. Well, it is the earliest piece of literature we have in the Castilian language, is buried here. Before, he was buried in the Monasterio de Cardeña, but when the French came with Napoleon, they sacked his tomb and threw out his bones all over the ground, and they think that they picked them up and brought them here to the Cathedral of Burgos. Something else that's really important to look at here is this amazing choir that we see. The wood here is absolutely a masterpiece. There are some really interesting scenes that I want to show you that are depicted throughout this choir. Some of them are very serious and theological, but others have some comedy in them. So, if you can see here, there is a bishop who's riding a demon. But to the right, you see the sacrifice that Abraham makes. In Christian theology, he was told by God to sacrifice his son, Isaac, who was the son of Sarah. Above, you can see as well here the massacre of the innocents, where King Herod orders all of the children in the city of Bethlehem to be killed because he is worried about the Messiah, Jesus, coming and overthrowing his rule, because it is said in Hebrew theology and Jewish theology that the Messiah will overthrow the unjust and put a just rule on earth. Here as well, you can see Saint Mary covering some nobles who crowd around her, trying to protect them from evil. This one is pretty funny as well. You can see two angels taking a piss into a fountain. In front of me as well is the founder of this cathedral in its Gothic form. Before it was Gothic, it was Romanesque, but that cathedral got torn down, and Don Mauricio, who was the bishop at the time of Fernando III, the king of Castile and Leon, decided to build this new grand Gothic cathedral in this gorgeous French style. Turning back around and heading back to the Cimborrio, we find the main altar of the cathedral. This altar is not Gothic. This altar, based on what it looks like, comes from the 16th, or more likely, the 17th century. You can see Mary there being crowned as Queen of Heaven. And below that, there she is again, this time with Jesus in her hands. Let's walk up so that we can get a closer look. On the left, you can see where the priest would have preached from the pulpit. I love this retable. There's many beautiful colors. And it tells the story of the life of Jesus. You can see Jesus there in the temple being purified because he was the firstborn son. That is in accordance with Jewish law. At the top, you can see Christ crucified with the beloved disciple, who, by the way, is never named John in the gospel, and Mary underneath him. As well to the sides, you can see these galleries. And then coming back, let's get one last shot of this epic Cimborrio and end the video there. Thank you very much for watching.